for the the AOSN.com. It's a sports site, and also ssports.co. It's Simply Sports and Entertainment. So I write for those two sites. I'm obviously hosting a show here now. Excuse me. And yeah, so that's my media presence. I'm a student, college student, but not yet, not officially. I'm going into my freshman year. I just graduated high school, so yeah, I'm excited to be here. Like I said, if you want to tweet the show, it's at @DJakeMitchell, and if you want to email, it's djakemitchellshow@yahoo.com. We don't have a phone line yet, so can't take calls yet. But yeah, I'm really excited to be here. I'm excited to meet all you fans and all that stuff. So let's see. I'm trying to get some scores here. I've been having some internet issues. I just want to ESPN's website is just, I don't like it. Live leaderboard. There we go. Still having some technical difficulties with the internet. So yeah, please email, please tweet. I'll read your tweets and emails on air. I will respond and probably get on to you about your emails. All right, so we're having some internet issues. So we can get back to the open updates later. I want to talk about Dez Bryant for a little bit, because this is something that in the NFL I'm just getting tired of seeing. I'm tired of seeing these diva wide receivers getting these big contracts, because I figured NFL GMs would be a little bit smarter than giving that much money to a position that they don't really need. Dez Bryant is a great wide receiver. You can't deny that. But he is also a diva. And there have been reports that he's had some serious off-field issues. And considering the way Roger Goodell has been handing out suspensions lately, I wouldn't be taking any chances on any players right now that I'm giving that much money to. Now, I've said in the past, if you read on Simply Sports and Entertainment, I wrote an article about Greg Hardy and how he shouldn't have been suspended 10 games, and you know how thankfully his suspension got reduced, because this is not about his off the field issues. I wasn't condoning his off field issues, but he had 15 games last year that he missed, plus the playoffs. I don't remember how deep they got. I think they went 2 games, but so that would be 17 games. So he missed 15 regular season games plus the playoffs, and then was suspended for 10 games this year. Now, it got reduced to 4, but still, he is missing 19 games plus the playoffs last year. That's over an entire season because of one incident. I think it might have been 2 or 3 incidents. But nonetheless, Ray Rice, one incident, he gets drunk, he makes a mistake. I mean, he's come out, he's worked to show everyone that he's good now and he's not this horrible person, but one incident and his whole career has been derailed. So Dez Bryant, who already has an explosive personality, as we've seen, with him running on the field with his helmet off and stuff like that, to spend that much money on him with the threat of off-field issues is just ridiculous. And I said earlier, it's a position that you don't need. And that's what makes it even more idiotic, in my opinion. Because you're already spending all this money on a guy who reportedly has off-field issues. And with the way suspensions are handed out, that's a lot of money to be spending. But then, you look at the fact that he's a receiver. Now, last year, the New England Patriots won the Super Bowl. Their top receiver was Julian Edelman. The team they were playing, the Seattle Seahawks, their top receiver in that game was Chris Matthews, if I'm not mistaken. The year before that, the Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks, who was their top receiver? Golden Tate. Now, when you look at the top receivers in the NFL, the elite receivers, how far do they get in the playoffs? Calvin Johnson in Detroit, for the past 4 years, has been considered the best receiver in the NFL. Now he looks like he's going to start declining. But for the past few years, he's been considered the best receiver in the NFL. The Lions have not been anywhere close to a championship. A.J. Green, receiver for the Cincinnati Bengals. Now we know the Bengals, they get to the first round every year and lose. That's the Bengals, because they don't have a quarterback. Julio Jones, the Atlanta Falcons, have been awful the last 2 years. Franchise money on a receiver like Julio Jones will not turn around a team like the Atlanta Falcons. The Cowboys lost DeMarco Murray. Everyone's been making a big deal about DeMarco Murray being gone. But really, I don't think that's an issue. Because the workload he had last year, considering how heavy that workload was, I don't see him having another year like that. I don't think he's got much left, quite frankly. Because you look at guys when Michael Turner was in Atlanta. He had the one season where he had that huge workload, but then it dropped off. Because running backs, that's just what they do. They go away quick. You know, Dallas has the best offensive line in the National Football League. So whether it's DeMarco Murray, Darren McFadden, Joseph Randle, any of them would be successful behind this offensive line. Now, of course, Darren McFadden or Joseph Randle is a downgrade from DeMarco Murray, but it's still the best offensive line in the National Football League. And everyone, talks about the decline in value of the running back, and how they're declining too much. Gurley and Gordon went in the first round this year. In this NFL, I don't see the need for a top running back. I see the need for a top offensive line and a top quarterback. But the skill positions, running back and receiver, I don't see the necessity. I guess what a good receiver can do is accent a great quarterback. But Tony Romo has proven that at some point in the playoffs, he's going to make a mistake. And it all goes down the drain. Because it all comes back to the idea that quarterback is the most important position on the field. You can have Calvin, Dez, and Julio. But if your quarterback is Ryan Fitzpatrick, you're not going anywhere. So, wasting all this money on Dez is stupid to me. Because what you could do is spend that money on your defense. Because there are plenty other places that you could spend all that money besides a wide receiver. I just don't get it. But it's the Cowboys. They signed Terrell. So, I guess that's just Dallas for you. Now, I can see the need for a great receiver and for a team like Atlanta. But he obviously hasn't fixed that team. He hasn't turned them into a contender. He's a great weapon, but he's hurt all the time. Or Calvin. Calvin Johnson is a good weapon for the Detroit Lions, but where have they gone? They haven't really done anything. AJ Green. That's just a situation where your quarterback's got to be better. Because the Bengals have always had a pretty good defense and a pretty good running game and some pretty good receivers. Chad Ochocinco. That was in 2007, but the Bengals won't win until Andy Dalton's gone. But yeah, I I feel like